Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
I can. Suit and tie. Nice look. Nice look. We're waiting for Victor. I got Victor, but I got no image with Victor, and stand by for Candace. She's in. There we
No
go.
image
We
for
got an image
Victor?
for Candace. I got no picture, Victor. No picture.
No picture of me? For
No
shame,
picture of
for
you.
shame.
Hey,
For
you know what?
shame.
That beach picture, that beach video with you under drinking mint juleps by the under the Tahitian sun
There you go. I'm
is
in an
not coming out
undisclosed location.
in your undisclosed location. Absolutely. Yeah.
Vic, you might have
Candace,
to
Mike,
jack
what's
out
going
and
on,
jack back
folks?
in and get an
What's the
image going.
dealio?
Yeah, you might have to come back in for us.
Oh, for the picture?
You got to come out.
He might have to.
Candace, how are you coming? Candace having a rough day.
He might have to press cam, because I just had to do that because I didn't have a picture at first. All right, are we live?
Yeah, are we live yet?
I still don't see a picture for me. I still don't see a picture.
Do you have options at the bottom, Vic? Press the word cam, Vic. Do you have options at the bottom?
Yeah, I got cam.
Yeah.
See?
So press
I
cam.
just press cam.
Okay. That muted you out. That dipped you out. Yeah.
I don't know what the deal is.
I think Paul just wanted his avatar up there.
Is that what it is?
Paul, you just
right,
like seeing your avatar.
I think we're live though. So.
Paul, the producer.
Yes, you are live. You are live. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Hit the cam button and at least put up your icon. We'll put up the big Vic. The big Vic.
Can you all hear me though? Can you hear me?
We can't hear you.
Oh, we can definitely hear you. Oh, unfortunately, we can hear you.
Unfortunately. Yeah, okay, man. you looking like a Republican today, Mike. Candace, Mike is looking like a Republican.
You know why? Because I mean business. I mean business. That's right. I mean business today. I'm not.
Hello to everybody that is joining us. Hello to our Facebook audience. Irene, hello. I hope you're enjoying your coffee. Irene is with us from Australia, and she's enjoying her coffee. So good morning to you in Australia. Oh my God! Today has been we're gonna power through today because I'm ready for today to be over. So we're gonna power through it. Now that we've had the opportunity to have both the DNC and the RNC, let's recap. Let's get some opinions. First, let's start with the DNC, and we're not gonna start with Deep Blue. We're gonna start with you, Vic. Go ahead. Just a recap for the DNC for you, Vic.
Yeah. I think that the DMC was trying to show the true diversity of the
Well,
country,
don't put the
right?
camera on Vic because he doesn't have there's nothing there. And so I don't want people to think we're not here. Go ahead, Vic.
Yeah. I think that the DNC was trying to show the true diversity of the country, right? So I think it was effective from that standpoint in terms of tone and message and relevancy of message. It's the kind of message that we really do need to put out there in terms of addressing the hard-hitting economic and social, obviously the racial divide, the racial issues that exist in this country. So we're going to have that. I think that for starters, their message was on point. I actually like the majority of the messages that I heard. I like Michelle Obama's message. I like Barack Obama's message. I like Joe Biden's wife, Joe Biden, her message, and so forth. I think all of those messages struck a tone. I liked Kamala Harris's message overall as well, right? In addition to Joe Biden's message. So I think it struck a good tone.
Okay, Deep Blue, what you got for us? Mike? I think Mike is frozen. I think he's frozen.
He's frozen. Thought he fell asleep or something.
All right, go ahead, Vic, with the RNC. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to be honest with you. I saw snippets of the RNC. It was a good Hollywood production. See, what Donald Trump's advisors knew was that he needs to strike a different tone. He needs to strike a different message. In terms of the production was good, and they did a better job in terms of diversifying what the RNC could look like. I don't think it reflects the true diversity of the party overall, and that's a topic to come back to. Win, lose, or draw, especially if they lose, I think the RNC is going to have to go back into their planning room and make some hard decisions. Do they want to remain where they are? I think in terms of message, in terms of optics and so forth, they did what they felt they had to do, but they're going to pull out win, lose, or draw, good or bad. They're going to pull out every stop that they could possibly pull out because this president is fighting for his political life overall. But I think they did a better job in terms of diversity from that standpoint. The question is, how believable is it? I think that it's believable for their base, but outside of their base, can they grow the base with that message? I'm not sure about that.
So my concerns, and as you know, I'm a policy kind of gal. I tend to look at legalities and all of that, and I guess my biggest concern with the RNC is that legal for them to be hosting a convention from the White House or to be using resources that taxpayers pay for. And by resources, I mean even his family members that are getting paid on taxpayer dollars. I'm just wondering, is that legal? Is that in violation of the Hatch Act? And again, keep in mind, even when we start talking about the Hatch Act, the only person that can really hold you to a violation of that is the president himself. So if he and his party are the ones that are violating this act, who holds them to that? I think for me, that was the biggest thing for me. Is the First Lady supposed to be giving a Republican National Convention keynote talk from the Rose Garden? Is the president and his top advisor supposed to be giving a speech from the White House? Like, is that something that they're supposed to be doing? For me, that was the thing that stuck out, that I had a huge problem with, because again, you're not supposed to be using taxpayer resources for those kind of conventions. You're melding the lines of the two.
Candace, I think you're raising a great point, but who's going to stop them? I agree with you wholeheartedly from a legal standpoint, but who has been able to buckle this president down and ensure that he follows the letter of the law? He's shown that he's been able to outmaneuver his political opponents in that regard, and whenever they thought they've caught him, they haven't. Right? I mean, who's going to hold his feet to the fire is my question.
Right. And Hometown Hero has joined us, and Hometown Hero wanted to point out that FDR announced his re-election from the White House in 1940. So apparently just because somebody else did it, it automatically becomes legal. I'm sure that's not how that works, but okay.
Yeah, FDR was in the White House for about how many terms? 3 terms too. I don't think that's going to happen again, right? Even though 45 says otherwise, quote unquote, jokingly, right? But let's go back to the question though, Candace. You're raising some great questions as it relates to Mike Pompeo, the address that he made overseas while on business, State Department business in Israel, right? And then the usage of White House property and so forth. But my question then again to you is, who's going to hold this president's feet to the fire with regard to that?
I just told you the only person that can hold the president or anyone else as far as the Hatch Act goes is the president.
There you go. So nothing will be done. Nothing will happen.
I mean, I think this is the thing though that I want to just be honest about as far as all of this goes. I think on both sides, you know, the showmanship was there. But my real issue, again, as someone who as an American, my real issue is great with all the showy speeches, but even as this is happening, right? We still see that people are being gunned down. You know what I'm saying? We still see the protests are happening. We still see the skewed media that is happening, that is occurring. And so I guess because somebody compared the New York Post, their article about Tamir Rice to their article about this Kyle, and his last name is escaping me right now, but the young man who went to Wisconsin and shot people. And of course, you know, he was not immediately arrested or anything. And here come everybody with all these excuses. The bottom line is, first of all, he was 17. He's a minor. He's not even legally supposed to have firearms. Then he was transported across that state lines by his mother, you know? And then he showed up claiming that he was there to protect these stores. But it's just like, you know, you end up shooting people and they just let you go. And then the headlines that come out about you, keeping in mind that you've had some legal trouble before, they show pictures of you cleaning up graffiti. You know what I'm saying? And so at this point, I'm thinking, at what point do we actually hold the media responsible for their depiction of victims and their depiction of perpetrators? At what point do we say, you are complicit as well, media? You are complicit.
Well, that's the game the media plays, right? The media always plays games like that.
Right, but if we're saying when we're talking about our elected officials and our leaders and our government, and we're saying that they have a duty and a responsibility, at what point do we point out the media's duty and responsibility as well? At what point do we say that you are part of the problem? You are adding fuel to the fire as well.
Well, listen, the media is the fourth branch of government, right? The pseudo fourth branch of government. But what we find is a dysfunctional media because of things like Fox News. It's become just a propaganda network. And so to balance that out, you get other networks like MSNBC and CNN and others that try to. We can see you now. CNN and others.
From an undisclosed location, Candace.
Right. Well, at least we know you ain't in the basement like Brother Biden. I can jab at him like that. He been in the basement locked out. And you know, listen, I'm glad he in the basement because we want to keep him safe. So these crazy people like the shooter in Kenosha,
Wisconsin. Yeah.
Doesn't do something. I mean, these people are dangerous. There's no telling what they'll do, man. So, Joe, stay in the basement, bro. Stay in the basement.
Here's the thing. In Hometown Hero, apparently this is the kind of week we're going to have with you. Hometown Hero says that Kyle Rittenhouse acted in self-defense and it's on video. He will have to answer for carrying the gun under age.
All right, so let's talk about that. I mean,
hold on one second. Then he also said, I'm confused. You all are acknowledging the fact that the media lies and plays games with narratives and get every negative spin on Trump you believe. I proved last week Trump never had an intent of not leaving office. He lost the election. If he lost the election, which was pushed multiple times on the show. The same media lied about Charlottesville kids and kids. Hold on, let me help you out, Hometown Hero. You actually didn't prove that. We actually provided you with the fact that he did say that if he did not like, he had Kellyanne Conway say it too, that if he did not like the results of the election, then he would go from there. So it's what he said. You can take it however you want. And then as far as you saying The Kyle Rittenhouse and then Donald Trump is two different things. He's been on camera blatantly saying one thing, and then when called out, he says another. So you're right. His lies are blatantly on tape. His lies are blatantly on tape. Like, I'm not even...
No doubt.
But Candace, the lies, see, Trump's lies are a direct correlation between what Rittenhour does, right? Trump lies and says that white folks need protecting from the people who are terrorists, to BLM and other people. They're terrorists, so white folks need protecting, right? So now you know that they need protecting. So what happens? Rittenhour goes in and tries to protect some kind of business or whatever, acts as though he's protecting some business, but really what he's out there doing is harassing BLM protesters. He's harassing regular protesters. So he went out and started shooting at people before the shooting we see on tape. Before the big shooting, he had already shot somebody, right? It wasn't about self-defense. They had been harassing people all day long. So let's say you walk past a business and people are looking at the business or whatever, they're marching or whatever, and they're brandishing guns, talking trash back to them. Well, listen, I'm from the hood. Now, when I see you later on and you ain't at your house, you might get talked to crazy. So then they start to, hey man, you want to talk all that trash? Talk that trash now. And this is a perfect example of why you have lawlessness in our neighborhoods. And now these people think if everybody's got guns, nobody's going to start shooting. But Rittenhour's case is exactly what happens in the neighborhood every day. You sitting there talking all that trash, but as soon as somebody catch you slipping, you ain't got your gun with you. Oh, you got your back turned. I'm going to get you. And so people start talking trash to him. Now he wants to play like he's got to defend himself. No, you were talking trash earlier. Now you're in a bad position. And I know this as a military guy. You always want to be in a position, but if you're in a situation where you're in a firefight, what do you have? A firefight. And he's been shooting at people before that, and people were trying to track him down and stop him and catch him because he's making things look bad for everybody. He had already shot somebody and killed a person before the big shooting that we saw where he shot at the two guys and killed the second guy who had a skateboard. He had already killed somebody. So
and Mike, to add to your point, Mike and Candace, I saw this coming, right?
Of course.
Little over a month ago, remember, you guys will remember this, that there was a protest taking place in Louisville, Kentucky on behalf of Breonna Taylor, the young lady, the first responder who was murdered in cold blood, has not received justice as of yet, right? And of the 4 cops who were involved in that, 1 lost his job. The other 3, to my knowledge, are still working on that police force, and the attorney general in that state still hasn't brought them up on charges or hasn't officially opened up a case, to my knowledge, regarding that. But
she was sleeping.
But let me finish though. Back about a month ago, there was another lone gunman who showed up at a protest rally, and he killed somebody in cold blood. And see, and this is the problem that we're dealing with. I don't see the kind of leadership that is necessary on the national level that is going to address the issues that confront American society. As I always say, and I will continue to beat this drum, America is now a cleft nation. A cleft nation is a divided nation, okay? The points of demarcation are so deep between the different groups, politically, socially, culturally, and otherwise in this country. I don't see in the foreseeable future anyone who has the kind of moxie, the kind of chutzpah, the kind of emotional or spiritual consciousness that will try to address the deep-seated issues that are besetting this country. And if America stays on this road, it's not going to look good.
Joe Biden can do that.
Empires can't fall. People act like empires rise and fall all the time. Go ask the ancient Romans. Go ask the ancient Greeks. Go ask the Egyptians and whatnot. Go ask the Babylonians and so forth. People think this can't happen to America. We're on that road, America. What's up? Great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, which way, community or chaos? It seems like we're headed towards chaos now. No, we're in chaos right here and right now.
Brother Vic, so can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so here's the issue. With Trump, I won't say it's a divided nation. What you have is
already a divided nation, Mike. Well, even before Trump entered into the picture, he's a symptom of the deeper issues of this country. This nation was already divided before Trump, long before Trump decided to go into politics.
Well, what the thing I'm saying is, you have this virulent 30% hometown hero, Rittenhour, Tucker Carlson, Donald Trump, and the guy who said those are blue states, let them all die, Jared Kushner. When you have people like this who feel this is their last hurrah, and I hear a lot of noise, brother Vic. I don't know if it's wind out there, or whatever, but this is their last hurrah, and they know that things are happening. So you talk about Breonna Taylor and what happened down there. Yes, a guy went up and killed someone. So everybody else said, well, look, I'm going to protect myself. This is what happens in the neighborhood every day. Lawlessness is beset by people protecting themselves. Now, if you think Rittenhour is protecting themselves, what about the people who protect themselves against him or from him? Then this is what you end up having. So when you have all these situations, when people are out there day in, day out, I got a lot of noise from you, brother Vic. So when you have people out there day in, day out, feeling that they have no say so, trying to protest, but you got subversives like Rittenhour coming in, stirring up the pot, making people more agitated, you end up having these kind of shootings. But let's talk about what's really been happening with the shootings. There have been 54 Trump-related shootings. Now, the guy who shot the young kids in Florida, Trump guy. The guy who shot who sent those bomb packages, Trump guy. The Boogaloo boys, Trump guys, shot a police officer and killed a police officer. We have had direct relations between Trump people shooting at folks and being at the Trump rallies. Rittenhour was at a Trump rally. The other guy who did some shooting was at a Trump rally. So we can talk all day about this, but Trump is directly related to these killings, to these shootings, or to these people making bombs. This is a subversive act by these subversives happening on our soil right now. And I agree with you, Minister Vic. They're trying to take the country down. But they'd rather take the country down and piecemeal it off to Vladimir Putin and everybody else than to let everybody live free, truly live free. Listen,
I think we have a comment that I want to address. Someone saying that Obama started the division in the country.
I'll be right back, folks. I'll be right back.
He did a great job of villainizing the police. I think that this, and I'm the only reason I want to address this is because sometimes you just can't let certain comments stand. We have to be very clear on why the country was divided once Barack Obama became president. Because the thing that Barack Obama came in saying was, I'm everybody's president. He came in trying that. But again, because you all do not want to acknowledge the fact that America is racist, America has a problem that is ingrained in the very fabric of America.
That's right.
You had a Congress who would not pass things. You had people blatantly calling him monkeys, blatantly calling his wife a man, blatantly saying all of these things, blatantly voting against him, not doing anything or making it as difficult as possible. All because this country did not want a black man at the helm. Let's be honest what happened here. And then for you to say that Obama villainized the police, so did he personally go out and whisper in all of their ears or aim all of their trigger fingers at black men, at black youth, at black women, and have him shooting them? No, he did not. Barack Obama is not the reason that this country is upset with the police. So what we're not going to do is act like there isn't a problem with state-sanctioned murder when there is. We're not going to put that on Barack Obama. We're not. The problem is you have people who will let 17-year-olds who have no business with guns walk away after he has shot people, and you will make excuse after excuse for him. While at the same time, a 17-year-old who is walking in his own neighborhood trying to go home is murdered. And then that murderer can then sell that gun and sign Skittles and Arizona iced tea bottles. That is an American problem. Stop acting like Obama did any of that. This country had a problem before he was in office. Him getting in office only highlighted the fact that this country was racist. And let's be real, Donald Trump was the racist answer to a black man being president.
I
And he is
agree.
failing at every turn. It doesn't even matter what color he is. The point is Donald Trump can't do the job. He hasn't been doing the job. So
Well, he wasn't put there to do the job. Vladimir Putin put him to do the job now. He was put there to destroy this country. Now, these people think they're saving the country, but they're actually destroying it, right? They're actually trying to be subversives to this country. They're sending people out.
I can't right now with Hometown Hero. Hometown Hero said the racist elected Obama twice. Stop it. Stop it. At this point, you're not even being real.
This is what they do to you, and you can't let them upset you. This is how you just gotta.
No. This is the thing. You mistake passion for being upset. I'm very clear on the fact that of what they're trying to do, the focus that they're trying to pull. And then for somebody to say, well, you just blame Trump for this shooting. Let's be honest about leadership and how that works, and how him being a blatant racist and congratulating racists is helping to move that agenda forward. Kyle felt comfortable going to Wisconsin and shooting because of that president that is in office. Let's be honest. But for you to try to blame Black men being gunned down by police, something that was happening before Barack Obama became president, on Barack Obama, is ridiculous.
Hold on.
My thing, hold on. At this point, just say you're racist, or you're fine with racism, or you're fine with Black people being murdered, and move on. Because we don't have to hide behind anything anymore. We can stop hiding at this point. Just stop hiding.
See,
I said it.
See, Candace and Mike. This shows where this country is right now, right? People are more interested in winning an argument rather than getting to the root cause of an issue that's infecting this country. That's where we are. See, people want to hide behind their little images and so forth, be anonymous and not call themselves anything other than their real names, and then try to address us concerning the issues that are affecting this country, not have anything substantive to say. See, that's where we are right now. People are in their emotions, they're in their feelings and whatnot, but they're not trying to bring any substantive solutions to the problems that's besetting this country. This is where we are, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, and look, if we're talking about who's a racist and who isn't a racist, there's no doubt about it in my mind or most people's minds. Donald Trump is a racist.
So I'm reading these comments, and someone who absolutely does not know me says, I'm way more racist than Trump, which lets me know at this point you are in this comment section to start a problem, because you are far off. Very far off.
So let me address that, Candace. Those people, and I said this months ago, at this point though now, if you're following Donald Trump, you're a racist. Now, as to the fact that can a Black person be racist? If
no,
you
they can be prejudiced, absolutely.
But you know, systematically, we don't have the power as Black people to carry out racism, right? So no, you can't be a racist in that regard, but you can be prejudiced, sure, right?
You can absolutely be prejudiced.
But if you are working for a racist system and apologizing for acts of racism, you are practicing racism along with the crew, right? So Candace Owens, some of the people that got up and said, even my man Herschel Walker, who I respect as a football player, loved Herschel, had Herschel football cards when I was a kid. Herschel Walker is practicing with the rest of the racists, and he's letting the racist agenda use him. And this is definitely, at this point in time, a racist agenda. Stephen Miller, who wrote the speeches, who has this agenda in place, to do everything from put kids in cages, to call on the Boogaloo Boys to help, to train citizens to become to work for the ICE, and to come into cities and practice their ICE tactics on city individuals in Portland and Detroit and other places. They're ready for war, getting ready for war. That is Stephen Miller's program, even up to the point where they're being used by communists. Now listen, when people talk about communism, they want to talk about China, but you have not heard Trump yet call Russia communist. You know why? Because they're dealing with communism. And the communists, like Russians, are happy to see democracy fall. And these people want to act like they wrap themselves in the flag, but they actually don't care about democracy. If you cared about democracy, you would care about voting rights. But you don't care about that. If you cared about democracy, you'd want to make sure that the post office was fully staffed and working fine. But you don't care about that. If you cared about democracy, you would care about citizens being snatched up and shot in the back 7 times, about citizens getting their heads smashed in over the policeman's knee. If you cared about democracy, but you don't care about democracy, you only care about whiteness. But Vladimir Putin is using your prejudice and your racism against you because he wants to see America fall. Don't fall for it if you're racist. Be the racist you are. Go back into the Kentucky hills or back into your racist cubbyhole. But don't actively act out your racism. You're doing Vladimir Putin's bidding. Can you hear me?
Vic is trying to set up his glam shot, so he wasn't really listening to you.
All right.
No, I was.
I'm saying
it's really a sad state of affairs, guys. And when I think about that book that I keep referring to, written by Samuel P. Huntington, right? The remaking of The Clash of Civilizations, the remaking of the global order, I disagree with certain points that he's making there, right? However, I agree with him in terms of the division. Because as I said before, this book was published back in 1997. And upon his studies, he was addressing what different people groups around the world, including in this country, were doing. And he was maintaining that people are falling back to their traditional cultural practices and so forth. Therefore, you're going to see, this is him predicting this, a rise in nationalistic ideology throughout the world. And this is exactly what we see going on in American society right now. And I'm sorely concerned that unless and until we have an adult conversation with adults who are truly concerned with addressing the economic, the social, the political, the racial issues that are confronting America, that the pictures doesn't look good. The outcome does not look good.
Here's the thing with that, of why that can't happen, because you have people like Hometown Hero, or you have people like whoever this commission person is hiding behind an avatar, acting like Donald Trump does no wrong, acting like he's not openly racist, acting like his behavior is not giving people a go ahead to do this kind of stuff. The fact that you would defend this 17-year-old coming and being a murderer and saying all he did wrong was to travel across state lines underage and have a gun underage, something is wrong with you. Something is really wrong with you. And there's no middle ground for that. Because my thing, they are committed to a thought process that is dangerous for a large segment of the population. You have heard me say time and time again, hold on. You've heard me say time and time again when Joe Biden was wrong, that Joe Biden was wrong. You've heard me say that when the Dems have dropped the ball, that they've dropped the ball. But to have somebody come on the show week in and week out and act like, oh, they have this perfect candidate, this man has been a problem from the beginning. From the beginning. He ran on a platform of calling people murderous and rapists, right? That's literally how he described a whole people, as murderer and rapists. So now those same people who were all for that ideology want to get mad when you tell them, if you're still supporting him, you're racist. How can they be clumped into something, but you don't want to be clumped into something?
Right. Well, and like I said, the agenda is not to save America. It is to save white people and save their power. We've seen it in South Africa. We've seen it in other places. This is nothing new. But those people didn't feel emboldened. But Trump is making them feel emboldened because he's got Stephen Miller and other racists working the plan. They feel like they can come out and do these things now. Rittenhour was 17, illegally carrying a weapon, never got stopped by the police. In fact, he was encouraged by the police. Now, that's white privilege, because I guarantee you a young black guy with an AR on his chest, running around, arguing with people, causing fights and arguments, the police would have checked him a long time ago.
You want to know what I find funny? And they try to address everything else, but not one of them address the fact that you have police officers shooting and murdering Black people, and that you have a media
Exactly.
that's skewing. They completely glossed over that. Hold on. They completely glossed over that, which lets me know all that I need to know about who's commenting today. Also, Irene said that Australia hates Donald Trump.
Right, and they
Yeah,
got
he's
their,
not too popular in different sectors around the world, that's for sure.
but look,
No
they
doubt about
just
that.
replaced their racist prime minister with a woman who's doing pretty well right now. Even the one in New Zealand's doing a little bit better. But see, we're facing these issues globally because Stephen Miller, the guy who just got arrested, Bannon, and the rest of them, Bannon went over to Ireland or some other place and bought a monastery so he could use his racist actions there. This is a global network,
global movement, yeah,
ideology, who are using these kind of tactics.
And then also here's the killer, hometown hero in the comments in true form, whatever you call the people that do what he does, is talking
reactionary
about
form.
You saying
The reactionaries.
You saying wait, talking about we said Trump built some cages or that Trump did a ban. He's saying, I'm like, not one time. You can go back and look at every show. Did I say Donald Trump built a cage? I said he caged those children. And now one time did I say, oh, he started the ban? I didn't even talk about bans. But that's what you do. You pull focus. You talk about stuff and you try to put words that people didn't say because you want the focus pulled toward whatever mad you mentioned. It's like at this point, it's crazy. It's crazy. And then Camille's asking, do we care about aborted Black babies? That's what we're talking about right now, right?
Here we go.
That's what we're talking about right now, right?
Do you care about aborted Black babies?
Can I address that? Can I address that?
I mean, what?
No,
because that's
not what we're talking about. And that's
listen.
Wow.
Because at this point, Mike, at this point, though, they're coming in every week and they're trying to act like Donald Trump does nothing wrong, or he hasn't caused any issues, or he's been this amazing guy. And then they do pull right out of Trump's playbook. He starts talking about Obama and this and that.
Yeah,
what did that have to do with the fact that you still have the violence that is being perpetrated against Black men, Black women by the police? That you still have these attorney generals, rather than trying these cases, these prosecutors, rather than trying these cases, they're putting them in front of a jury that they know is going to say no charges and won't convict. The bottom line is you have a whole segment of the population being murdered and you don't care.
So Candace, can I address that in a certain way? All right, so if there were programs specifically slated for Black folks, or slated for descendants of slaves or whatever, then we could talk that way about abortion. But remember, abortion is generally an economic choice, right? A woman feels like she can't afford it, blah, 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 and then she has an abortion. But if Trump wants to talk about what he's doing for the Black community, right? He's the greatest thing for the Black community ever since Abraham Lincoln. He's done more for Black people. Now, what is he saying that he's done for us? He gave us certain jobs or whatever. He helped the economy, but it's Obama's economy. But we'll talk about that later. He talked about the economy. All right. Now, let's say I've got a job now, and I'm a Black man, and I'm making $1 million a year. Does that mean the police still won't shoot me? No. So police reform still needs to happen regardless of whether Black people are getting better jobs or he's helping with unemployment. If Donald Trump, I'm waiting for the legislation, Donald Trump supporters, where it specifically helps Black people and police action.
I just find it funny that everybody wants to talk about the law and believing in the law, and you shouldn't have broken the law when it comes to Black people. Or if that was a Black man who showed up shooting white people and saying he was attacked, and the response would have been, well, the police were right there, you should have let this play out in court. Like, stop it all. Just stop.
Let's talk about the law. Did you see the lawlessness?
I can't hear you.
Did you see the lawlessness on display at the White House? There's a thing called the Hatch Act, where all week long we've had Mike Pompeo on the government dime. Now, you know this. I know Black folks have gone to jail for double dipping. getting money, and
I
having a
already brought
side
it up,
job.
Mike. At the beginning of the show, I brought up the Hatch Act, and they already defended what Donald Trump did. So you might as well let that go. They already
But
defended that.
I'm not going to let it go in the sense of understanding if you care about law and order, but you're breaking the law over and over again, you don't care about the law. If you're pardoning your buddies and partners in crime, you don't care about the law. Donald Trump is working with people every day that are breaking the law recklessly. They don't care about the Hatch Act. They don't care about using government funds for private entities and interests. They don't care about using government funds to run their campaign. This is the problem. They don't care about law and order,
So
even in the streets.
I'm gonna acknowledge this comment real quick about the person saying Rittenhouse is the worst racist ever. He shot 2 white dudes. He shot 2 white dudes defending Black lives. So yes, he is a racist. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the 2 guys, I call them heroes, and I forgot one of the brothers' names who had a skateboard and it was trying to subdue Rittenhour because Rittenhour had already shot someone. He was a hero. When somebody shoots someone, people who go in and try to stop them from shooting anymore are heroes. So are you telling me these brothers who happen to be on a side that you don't agree with politically are trying to stop a young man who has shot someone are not heroes? Where they do that at? Any other place and any other time, you'd be talking to him about he's a hero, right? The skateboard guy, and I cannot think of the brother's name, and please forgive me. Please somebody say his name. But him and the guy they killed before are heroes. They were trying to stop Rittenhour from acting a doggone fool or killing more people. And he probably did save more people's lives because Rittenhour could have done more shooting. As a matter of fact, if you listen to the noise, when Rittenhour starts shooting, somebody's shooting back at him. That's why he starts running towards the police because he's scared.
I'm going to read this last little comment, and then we're going to put this train back on the track because we're a little late here. He says that Trump, the racist, pardoned Alice Johnson today, jailed by Biden's crime bill. The problem is you don't care about that because the narrative reigns supreme. The first guy Kyle shot who was chasing him was a convicted pedophile. He's no hero. So my thing is, and I think that's a good question. Hold on. This is a good question that Juneteenth asked. Why today, hometown hero? Why pardon today? This is the thing, though. And my thing with you, hometown heroes, I'm not trying to convince you one way or the other because your mind is already made up. But you act like I have not laid out over these past few weeks that you have watched because you've been here. By the way, thank you. I appreciate you for showing up every week. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you for sharing your opinion. But you act like I have not laid out my issues with Trump beyond racism. They go beyond that. I have been the one voice, sorry, Deep Blue, who has constantly said the problem in both parties, who have constantly said, and I've said with Vic several times that it's a people thing. I have pointed out classism more times than I can tell you. I have said to you at this point, I do not believe we have a president in the White House that cares about people, period. You brought up Goldman and Sachs. He's hired people from Goldman and Sachs. You said he's wanted to drain the swamp. The only thing he's done is funnel the money into him and his family's pockets. He's got all this junk that he talks about with China. Meanwhile, he's making all kind of deals left and right. His daughter has all kind of patents over there for voting machines on top of that. It's like, don't let somebody keep looking you in your face, telling you one thing while they're stealing from you behind your back. At the end of the day, my concern, and I've never hidden the fact that my concern is for the people. My concern is for the fact that at the end of the day, we get cheated. We're down here, we're fighting these wars and we're talking about race and all this other stuff. And it's like, you don't realize that everybody else, we're being left out of so much other stuff. We have these systems that are failing. And my issue is that you should be concerned with any portion of this population that's being left behind. As a Black person, if it were white people being left behind, I would still care. I told you I didn't vote for Trump because of his attack on Mexicans. I'm clearly not Mexican, but he didn't get my vote because I didn't agree with it. You're not going to call a whole group or a segment of people, you're not going to call them rapists and murderers and paint them as these things. You're not going to say you want to build a wall, which you didn't even build. You reconstructed little parts of a gate that was already there. You're a hustler. On top of that,
Right.
you and your boys sat up there and hustle people out of money over a gate that you ain't even completing. Meanwhile, we have a pandemic that's killing people left and right when there's no centralized national plan. That is
That's
my
right.
problem. I keep telling you, my issue is that people are not properly protected under this presidency. That's where I am with it. And
let me chime in here, folks. Let me chime in here. Right? I think what the Dems are going to have to do is focus in on what their vision is of American society. I think that what the Biden-Harris ticket needs to do is to do just that. And I think they're going to have to man up and woman up and out hustle Donald Trump and his cadre of followers and whatnot. They're going to have to show the energy, the pizzazz, the chutzpah, the creativity, and the passion to outwit and outmaneuver every move that they're making in order to win this thing back. Because if that doesn't happen, I'm sorely concerned regarding what direction America will continue to go in. And it's not going to look good for all parties concerned, to be honest with you. It's not going to look good.
Well, and that was the point. That's the point I was going to make.
Our country is saying that he supports Trump's policies, not his behavior. The thing that you got to understand is his policies are lining up with his behavior. So if you're supporting one, you're supporting the other.
Well, listen.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, look, these people want to see America fail, but Trump, that's Trump's methodology. He doesn't care about the country. He doesn't care about the people. He only cares about lining the pockets of his friends and anybody he can use, his family or his buddies. That's it. That's how he works. When he sits there and has 1,000 people, 1,500 people show up on the White House lawn, right? The people's house, my house, that I pay taxes for.
Come on.
He used my house to politic, to call me, if I care about Black Lives Matter, a subversive or somebody who's out there being anti-American or being a terrorist. He called me that in my house, in my White House, the people's house. And him and his wife used it, his children used it as some kind of monarchy. It is ridiculous, and it is a shame that these people would sit back and let this happen.
Mike, first I'm gonna read 2 comments, but then I want to let Vic get in here. I want to hear from Vic. First, Spectacle Productions said, hard to separate the two, but good for you. You must be exhausted. He was talking about separating Trump's policies. And then Hometown Hero said, Democrats didn't propose a single policy to help Black people. All they do is pretend to feel bad. Can I just say something, Vic? Mike, you step out of this real quick. Vic, do you recall when they put on kente cloth and kneeled? Did I not come on this show and call them out about that? The Dems.
Absolutely.
Did I not?
Absolutely.
Did I not say, what is that? And then Mike and I not go back and forth about that.
Absolutely.
So I just feel like Hometown Hero has a bit of a revisionist history when it comes to some things that have happened on this show. That's fine. You're entitled to that. But if you can sit up here and act like I have not been fair and I have not criticized both parties, that I have not criticized both candidates, there's nothing I can do for you. Because I have definitely called out the other side. Hold on. I don't know if you recall, Mike and I spent like 2-3 weeks in a row arguing about the Dems. 3 weeks in a row.
Absolutely. Candace, to that point, I think that the Dems are going to have to be very careful about not making the same mistake that Hillary Clinton made 4 years ago. Because what they did was they consistently talked about all that was wrong, all that was bad with Donald Trump, rather than painting the picture and putting out a narrative concerning what her vision was for America if she would have been elected to the presidency of the United States of America. And in that regard, I think that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have to do the same thing. And also, now let's be clear here. Not every conservative, not every Republican is a Donald Trump supporter. There are
I agree with that. Not every Republican is a Donald Trump supporter.
There are a cadre of persons who disagree with Donald Trump, and you saw them last week at the Dems National Convention as well. And you have a group that is a part of the Lincoln Foundational Committee that's putting forth a number of different concerns that exist regarding Donald Trump. So if I'm a Democratic strategist, I would be reaching over and talking with those persons as well as to my base in terms of pointing out what I'm going to do, what my vision for America is, what America needs to do in order to get back on the right track.
All right, so hold on. Joe Biden is up 12 points in the last poll. He got a bump from the Democratic display last week.
The convention.
But when is Donald Trump and the Republicans are going to start talking about the shootings and the killings? The Dems are at least, look, taking a knee with the kid they cough might not be the best thing you can do, but it's something better than nothing. What is Donald Trump doing? Nothing. Continue to stoke the fires. Now, I don't want to compare who's done what, but I will compare this. Dems are doing way more for black folks. We got black folks in positions. We got a black vice presidential candidate, a black woman. What are we talking about here? I mean, from the most liberal state in the union, California. So
hey, Vic,
we can sit there.
I want to hear your opinion on something real quick, right? So he keeps calling himself the party of Lincoln, right? We know what he's doing with that. But I also want to, what do you think about this, Vic? Take another look at that. Is that also a signal, though? Because when Lincoln was president, what was happening? The Civil War. So I'm just wondering.
That's right.
I'm just wondering, is that a signal to a certain amount of people who want the South to rise again to start a war? I'm just wondering.
Well,
listen,
Candace and Mike, that mindset, of course, does exist. It certainly does exist.
Yes.
And to be quite honest with you, unfortunately, there are people who want to see the fall of America, and they want to see a creation of another union, right? And you do have persons who have the view, Candace, that what was instituted in the not so distant past was not working, is not working. Therefore, we need to tear it down and build a new society. Now, this society is not the one that you and Mike are talking about. This is a very narrow society, if you get what I'm saying.
Right.
In terms of its makeup. And there are persons who are a part of the Trump camp who have that mindset and that worldview.
But I want to talk about
real quick. Shardy said hello to everyone, and then Hometown Hero.
What up, Shardy?
Hometown Hero said that black people are represented throughout the Republican Party, but you don't know they exist because they're rolling with the racists. Your words, Mike. They put up. Let
me jump in on this real quick, Candace. People make this point a lot, right? Look, let's be clear about this. Before we were Democrats, black people were Republicans, right? We have a tradition of black republicanism
and conservatism in our culture.
But here's my point. People act like we're not thinking for ourselves. We are thinking for ourselves. We house ourselves in the Democratic Party for a reason, because the Dixiecrats left the Democratic Party, and guess where they are now? In the Republican Party. That's where they are right now. They're running the show. It's the same agenda.
But hold on. I want to offer a sense of understanding that there is some hope. And here's where the hope is. There are Republicans leaving like never before the Republican Party. You have never seen.
Explain that, Hometown Hero. Explain the exodus.
You haven't. Look, you want to talk about Democrats and disarray, the Bernie bots or Bernie people. Look, I ain't never seen this many Republicans come out and endorse a Democratic candidate on the surface, in their faces, talking about it. From Christine Todd Whitman, you can go down a list. I mean, I'm talking about prominent Republicans. These are Republicans who worked. Bill Kristol and so many right-wingers. John Bolton and the rest of them do not want to vote Trump. So, and I want to talk about him because they're going to say he's black and he don't count. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is there's so many white Republicans who are coming out who are right-wingers who are saying today and every day that they're supporting Joe Biden. Right? So there are a bunch of people who don't agree with this agenda and they're trying to do the right thing. We've got to let them into the big party of the Democratic Party, and we got to support them. I support anybody who's a Republican who understands that our union is more important than Donald Trump's family and his businesses. Our union, this country, we will keep it together.
Let me get this question. Jardy says, I have a question. I've been hearing this narrative from many preachers within the Christian community, and it's this. They have said that they are not supporting Vice President Biden and Senator Harris because they're going to try and destroy the church and keep abortion and same-sex marriage going and other type of pending doom theology. My question is, can this possibly be Republican talking points to convince people to vote for Donald Trump during the election in November? Let's address a couple of things here, because I know we like to say, or people like to pretend like, oh, the Republican Party is just this party of morals. But this is the thing about that. This is the thing about what is going on. You cannot say, oh, I don't want you to. And my thing is, first, and I want to go back to something that Mike said, and he gave a reason. It's first of all, it's none of your business why someone is getting an abortion. Start there. None of your business. Second of all, whether they want to do it for economic reasons, whether they want to do it because they were raped or whatever, the fact that people constantly think somebody has to give them an answer about what they want to do with their bodies. Now, before you get in the comments saying Candace is saying people go get abortions, that is not what Candace is saying. What Candace is pointing out, it is amazing how you want to monitor a uterus, but I don't hear you talking about vasectomies. I don't hear you saying these men need to stop sleeping with these women. I don't hear you saying about the responsibility of the man, but you want to put the onus on the woman simply because she's the one left with the baby when you can walk away. My thing is, don't tell me you don't want to pay for abortions or you don't want to pay for birth control, but then at the same time, you have health insurance companies that want to pay for Viagra. This is not, it's not about what's right. It's an attack on a woman, and you wanting women to know their place and you wanting to police a woman's body. Because if you really felt that way, then you'd start pushing vasectomies and everything else. If you really felt that way, you start pushing for men to stay in these homes and in these families. If you really felt that way, I would hear you saying more of an accountability for men instead of you putting it all on the woman. Let's be clear that this is just another attempt at controlling women. You cannot tell me you are a moral party who care about children, but then you won't pay those same children's parents a living wage to be able to take care of them. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that you're against social programs, and then you want to ignore the fact that there are all kind of programs for the rich. You can't tell me you cared about people and children during a pandemic, but you want to sit up here and both sides want to play whatever games they want to play when it comes to giving out relief. But meanwhile, those big banks, those corporations have already walked away with their tax breaks. You can't tell me you don't like socialism, but there are social programs for the people who are already rich. You can't tell me those things. You can't act like your party is so concerned with same-sex marriages, but then when the headlines come out, they're the ones. And I'm not shaming anybody, but at the same time, if you can't say you care about that, but then here we go, you're a closeted gay this whole time. Here you go, you're molesting children this whole time. You can't tell me you care about children and you're the moral party when moral just simply means I have the right to judge and condemn everybody else and what they're doing. Meanwhile, I'm upholding systems that keep people down, that keep people oppressed, that keep people in the cycle of abortion. You can't tell me any of that. Stop.
Well, also, great points, Candace. I owe you a round of applause. Great point. And as the woman, well spoken, I just want to add one piece to that too. Also, the abortion is the thing that keeps on giving. Republicans don't want to solve abortion. Number one, they can't. But number two, they don't really want to solve it because it's the gift that keeps on giving. Because they can always go back to abortion and talk that nonsense about abortion. And Candace, you put the nail on the head. You're talking about telling a woman what to do with her body. And at some point in time, let's say you outlaw abortion. At some point in time, what you have to do to make sure there are no abortions is arrest every pregnant woman and wait till she delivers the baby. So that way you can make sure that no woman gets an abortion. Otherwise, what are you going to do? Put women in jail?
Or here's the crazy thing. Or you can take every man off the street and give him a vasectomy since you don't want these babies to be aborted. Since you want to avoid all.
Right, but nobody's prepared to.
You have a problem with abortion. You have a problem with social programs to help them because you don't pay them wages that don't pay them enough. What do you want other than control? Because that's all it is at this point. Is you want control. You want to say so.
Of course they want control. Did you see the robotic Trump women up there? They're controlled. You see Melania up there looking like she ain't even her own person. She can't even smile a regular smile. She don't even want to hold Donald Trump's. She don't even want to hold Donald Trump's hand. Why y'all keep holding his other parts?
Look here, Deep Blue. I ain't trying to get into where that takes us down a different rabbit hole.
No
Let's
doubt.
stay focused. I'm just simply saying, don't give me this crap about you're this party that cares about morals and all of this. But meanwhile, you want a baby to get here so that they can live in poverty that you create by giving these large tax breaks for corporations, but then blaming the other side. The bottom line is we have a system that has not worked for everyone in this country under every president. And so at some point, and Vic, I'm taking it back because now it's 6 o'clock, so we're gonna hit them with that. We the people. When do we start pushing for policy for we the people? When do we start doing that? When do we stop having these arguments? I don't want to spend 45 minutes on a Friday talking about Donald Trump. I don't.
Exactly.
I don't.
Better topics to talk about.
we can do that if we all focus on one thing. Listen, I think we understand this. We can all agree on this. If Donald Trump gets another 4 years, it could be the end of our democracy as we know it. And if we can agree on that, right? We got to agree on one thing. He's got to go. I do
agree that democracy is being attacked like never before under him. And I've got a lot of reasons for why I believe that. Even the moves that he's making. I mean, take a look at, and our friend from Australia is here. Did he not make a threat to the Australian government about helping him find some stuff against his opponent? He's solicited several foreign nations about finding something against his opponent. When you have someone in office who is a by any means necessary, I will win kind of candidate, by any means necessary, you cannot check me. I will say whatever I want to say. Like at some point, we do have free speech, but you gotta acknowledge the fact that everything you want to say, sometimes that freedom of speech is dangerous. And while you might not be the person that uses Donald Trump and goes out and shoots someone else, Kyle Rittenhouse is the kind of person that goes out and shoots people. You've got to be careful with what you say. You have to. And I'm not saying, and I have no problem with saying that the Dems are not perfect. No one is saying, I don't think that's Mike's argument. I don't think that that's Hometown Heroes' argument. But I think the difference is when you cannot admit when something is destructive. When you cannot admit that something is destructive, that when you would rather have someone in it because he tells it like it is. My thing is, let's be clear. It's been plenty of times where he said one thing on Monday and said a different thing on Friday. I'm getting the whole I'll say one thing to your face and another thing behind your back vibe from him. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't trust it. I don't want it. I want us to be better as a people, better overall. Y'all keep talking about all these policies. You keep saying how he's pardoning somebody. Okay. All right. But you've had years to pardon that person. What's up?
They don't have
that was political, Candace. That was political.
They don't have a policy. They don't have a policy. They did not even have a Republican platform. Because they know Donald Trump ain't going to stick to it. 4 years ago, they changed the platform to reflect whatever Vladimir Putin wanted. Vlad this year said, hey, man, y'all can't do what I want done. Just don't have nothing at all. And they complied with that. And the first time in history, the Republican Party does not even have an agenda. You know why? Because their agenda is racism. More of the same, scaring white people, scaring white women, scaring suburban brothers and sisters. We have to come together as a country and say, no more. I stand with Republicans who are against Donald Trump, who are saying, we're done with him. We don't want any parts of him. We got to get him out of there, and Mitch McConnell and the rest of them. And we got to put in new policies. The Hatch Act has to be strengthened. We got to make sure we strengthen all these laws that Donald Trump is breaking right now. We're putting his kids in every job you can imagine. Jared Kushner has 15 jobs. He got more jobs than my Jamaican brothers and sisters. And he don't do none of them well. This is the problem in our country right now. The nepotism, the favoritism, all that stuff is going on. This man is corrupt to the core. And these people love him. He's corrupt.
So real quick, I I want to hear from Vic. Only reason I keep trying to point it on Vic is because one of the things that I do want to make sure that I do, because the show is called Whose Opinion Is It Anyway, which is why I have no problem reading opinions that are contrary to mine. But I
We
want
did it
to
too.
also at the same time want to always make sure, whether I agree with your opinion or not, that this is a space where that opinion you can go forth. And so if you're wondering why I keep pushing it toward Vic, Vic seems to be a lot more neutral than Mike and I are this week. And so, Vic, I just want you to just talk to us about what we've been talking about today. Just give us some thoughts.
Absolutely. Let me go down the street first, because I'm thinking about what I was witnessing as I was reflecting upon both conventions, both the Dems convention and the Republicans convention, and I'm thinking about Black America, right? And you guys have heard me make reference to this time and time again. I'm gonna do it again right now, and I'm thinking about the historian Harold Cruz, right? Who, as I stated before, is noted for his groundbreaking work entitled "The Crisis of the Negro Intellectual." And I've seen the scenario play out that he was making reference to, right? Harold Cruz, because I'm thinking about, in addition to America the whole, I'm also concerned about our community and what we're going to do to resolve the many ills that's infecting our community. So as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking about Harold Cruz, right? Harold Cruz maintains that when you look at political debate in Black America historically, it comes down to two sides. And I'm going to use his language. Now, bear in mind, he wrote this book. It was published in 1969. But Cruz says that you have the conservatives on one side, and you have what he refers to as the radicals on the other side, right? So the most noteworthy Black conservative that he made reference to was Booker T. Washington, who was a part of the self-help tradition, right? Very conservative.
Yeah, very much so.
However, and of course, for those who don't know, Booker T is the great educator, and he founded Tuskegee Institute. Now it's Tuskegee University in Alabama.
Yep.
On the other hand, he made reference to W.E.B. Du Bois, who was the radical at the time.
Right.
And Du Bois headed up the protest tradition, right?
Sure.
Now, bear in mind, Cruz says that these two factions historically and even presently are continually debating one another regarding what the proper course of action is that Black America should take. And we're still dealing with that right now, as I'm reflected upon both conventions. You had Blacks at both conventions who were giving key addresses, right? Whether we agree with them or not.
That's right.
However, he says something very interesting here, folks, Candace and Mike. He says that what happens in history is that the conservative view becomes the radical, and the radical view becomes the conservative view. And he points out that by the time we get to the 1960s, of course, Booker T and Du Bois had their famous debate in the early 1900s, right? So by 1960, you have Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad, who really are from the same tradition as Booker T. Washington, right?
Right. Yeah.
However, that tradition becomes radical with the meteoric rise of Malcolm X. However, juxtaposed to Malcolm, you had Dr. King in the 1950s. He was the radical, but when Malcolm X showed up on the scene, he eclipsed King's radicalism. King then becomes the conservative, right? Malcolm is assassinated in 65. King is assassinated in 68, but before he's assassinated, King then becomes the radical once again.
Right.
When he said to Harry Belafonte, I'm sorely afraid that we are leading our people into a burning house. And we're still addressing that issue today. But back to Harold Cruz real quick, and I'll wrap this up. Cruz says it's not enough to want to win an argument. It's not enough to want to win a debate. What has to happen for all people, whether you are a conservative or a radical, a conservative or a progressive or liberal, is that what we should do, the adults in the room, is to draw from the best ideas and synthesize the best ideas, master the lessons of our history, and apply those lessons to our present so that we can chart the proper course for the future. And as I'm saying this about Black America, the same holds true for the United States of America as a whole, for the adults are in the room. Now, it's one thing to want to win a debate because you're for your guy or you're for your political party. But the question is, who is really for the country? That's the question.
You go.
See, I don't have time. I don't have time for kid stuff. I don't have time for immature people who get on here trying to win an argument. I want a robust conversation that adults can have, whether we agree with one another or not, so that we can address this country and put it back on the proper course. That's what we need to do.
I agree.
Don't come to me with that childish stuff. I don't suffer fools easily.
And I agree with you. Look, when people talk all that nonsense, that's what they do. I am concerned right now that we got to make sure do what's necessary to get Donald Trump out first. Because if we don't, we're going to be in a world of trouble as a country. He is going to break so many laws, and our country is not going to last 4 years. I don't think so. And I don't think people recognize how quickly this country can surf into anarchy. You will have Donald Trump sending in his brown shirts, trained by Stephen Miller and ICE, from the border to every city that he calls S-hole cities. They'll be sending them in, and you'll have people like us being rounded up left and right, called radicals and called Antifa or called BLM. He's already going to be labeling BLM a terrorist organization. You have right now today 54 incidents of racists shooting, harming, going after people directly related to Trump, and Bill Barr has not went ahead and prosecuted one of them yet. Not one racist has been prosecuted by Bill Barr. Remember that. That means he's letting it go, but he's ready to go after Obama right now. He's gonna in October. He'll be releasing documents trying to knock down the Obama administration. This man is dangerous, and he's trying to make sure this country is breaks. They want it broken, so Donald Trump and his buddies can go in and get everything they can. The White House will be theirs. He'll be running Don Jr. He'll be running Tiffany. He'll be running Ivanka, and we'll never get the office back again. We got to be careful what we're asking for. And I ain't got time to argue with nobody. I'm with you, Brother Big. But doggone it, we got to win first. And I think everybody got to put all these arguments aside and get him out.
Real
Once
quick,
we get him out, we're going to go to fight on January 20th.
D Blue, thank you for your stump speech for your party. Real quick, I got to get some of these comments in here. So Jeff said this has been one of the best shows yet. Kudos, y'all. Jeff, I don't know, but thanks, Jeff. Because I don't know. That's all I got for this one. So thanks, Jeff. Irene, we did see your comments. Thank you for joining us from Australia. It's good to have you. Thank you for letting us open up your morning all nice and loud. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Hometown Hero, as always. We appreciate you joining in. I see here that Hometown Hero needs to probably start his own show. So we welcome you to start your show. We'll come in your comment section, Hometown Hero. We'll gladly do it. We'll gladly do it. Hometown Hero said you're asking for Biden, begging for him. He destroyed Black lives. You get what you asked for. Hometown Hero, I'm gonna have a real conversation with you next week where we're gonna lay out some of these mistruths that you're talking about. But simply because I'm so disgusted that everybody wants to go with the narrative of Trump has done more for Black people. Quit acting like his first 2 years in office wasn't riding off the back of President Obama. The economy that you're seeing now, that's on him. And actually, you can't even blame the complete plummet on the virus because it was plummeting before the virus. Just anybody with some good political sense is going to blame it on the virus. But anyway, I want to go ahead and I think this is a good place to end it, okay? Especially if we're going off of what a compliment for Jeff. Hometown Hero said it's more Mike than you. So I guess I'll take that back, Hometown Hero. Mike, you're the problem. I agree.
I'm the problem.
Deep Blue.
Deep Blue's the problem.
I got my blue tie. I'm Deep Blue.
Hometown Hero, we got to end it. Paul has other shows he has to run. Hopefully he'll be running your show too, Hometown Hero.
Look, he ought to get his own show so we can troll him, right?
810-239-2901.
So we can troll you, man.
810-239-2901. Hometown Hero, call and get your show started so that I can come in your comment section, man. I want to be in your comment section. Come on.
Yeah.
You just can't name.
We promise you, we'll troll you.
I do want to end it here. I want to do something a little different. Actually, not really. Mike, give us your final thought first. 30 seconds, go.
Listen, everybody.
30 seconds.
Our beloved country is at stake. I call on all Republicans who want to do the right thing, all the Bernie people, progressives who want to do the right thing, who care about our country, all those in the military and others. There's more of us than there are of him. There's more of us. With the display I saw at my White House, with Donald Trump signs on the White House and his wife walking down there like they're the queen of whoever, we don't elect monarchs in America, and we don't care about anybody's family who wants to run this country. We love this country. We love our White House. We need to come together and win this thing. Once we win, we can talk. We can fight on November 4th or November 5th. We can start arguing about who's going to do what. Progressive, conservative Democrats, conservative Republicans. We can all do that argument on the 4th.
All right,
let's get him out. Let's get him out. He's got
Was that 30
Mike,
seconds?
you talk about we can argue November 4th. You mean January 21st? We gotta make sure that mug leave the White House.
True. Good point.
Jeff said, Hometown Hero said that I can be on his show and not in the comments. Go ahead, Hometown Hero. And Jeff said, Candace, don't let them run you up like that. Jeff, where were you? Where were you? I know you were watching, but you were quiet on me this week, Jeff. Man, this week was something else. That's okay. We appreciate everybody for watching. Thank you. We definitely want to.
I don't get my say. I can't close
Hold
out.
on, Vic. I'm not closing yet. I'm just
okay.
can I take the time to appreciate our audience?
Okay, no doubt.
Both those, because the show is called Whose Opinion Is It Anyway? And so I think that the beautiful part about this is having multiple opinions, whether you agree or not. I think seeing different perspectives gives you a chance to sit back and think about it if you choose to, or if you don't. Again, I'm a we the people kind of gal, so I don't mind hearing other opinions, and whether I agree with them or not, I don't mind. It's always good to know what happens, in everybody's thought process and how we get to where we are. Jeff said, my only question is, why isn't the U.S. government not shareholders in the profitable companies on the taxpayers' behalf? That's a good question, Jeff. Let's examine that next week. I want to make sure, though, before we get out of here, because Vic, I have appreciated you thoroughly this week because your energy was calm.
My energy was calm this week.
Yeah, my energy wasn't calm this week.
Yeah. No doubt.
I appreciate the calm. Mike's energy is never calm. So
he's never calm. Man.
Give us your words of wisdom closing out, because you've been the voice of reason.
The voice of reason. Absolutely, folks. Everybody's looking for a leader. And I'm asking everybody to look in the mirror, because you might find one looking right back at you. In other words, we are the leaders that we're looking for. We should be through with hero worship and so forth, and this passivity and looking for other people to do for us what we can do for ourselves. We are the very people and the leaders we're looking for. We the people.
All right, and I'm going to close out, and I'm just going to say once again, as always, I am in agreement with Vic in that thought process of we the people. I strongly believe in the fact that we are in charge of the government, that they work for us. I don't hold up the fact that I believe that. And that's what I would like to see working. That I would like to see working policies that work for everyone in the country, not just segments of the population. I want to see, victory for the entire country. I don't want the division. I don't want us to be okay with murder, regardless of who's doing it. I don't want all that. I don't like all of it. And I just think more so than anything, these kind of shows, even though Hometown Hero did hit us with it's not productive, it is very productive because it's good to know, what everybody's thinking, and it's good for people to come and have a space where they can decompress and give out their opinion. So this has been Whose Opinion Is It Anyway? Calm Candace will be back next week.
Keep the energy, Candace. Bring the energy.
So
eclipse Mike with his energy.
Listen, I don't care whether it's Hometown Hero or Mike. We can go toe to toe. I don't care how this works. If I don't agree, I don't agree. But we'll be back here next week from 5 to 6 p.m. We'll try to do our best to keep the train on the track next week.
Yes.
Because we got completely derailed this week. So this has been Whose Opinion Is It Anyway with Candace.
And Victor.
And Mike, keep him muted, Paul. You know the routine. Keep him muted.
Keep him muted.